Danger, danger, it's the big one. I know it. We'll all be destroyed.
Calm down, Alpha. It's Rita. She's escaped and she's attacking the planet.
Aye, aye, aye. What do we do?
Teleport to us 5 overbearing and over-emotional humans.
No, not that. Not teenagers.
That's correct, Alpha.
I was afraid of that.
That was such a weak pop.
I know. Oh man, that's what reading it cold was gonna get us.
That was so good.
Hello, internet. Welcome to Say Report Jr.
I'm so happy. I'm so incredibly happy right now. You don't even know.
I wasn't sure how crazy to go with the voice, and I was like, I still need to be audible.
I think it was perfect. I think you captured Alpha on a podcast perfectly.
So again, Say Report Jr. I'm one of your host companions, Zach Sarlick.
And I am your other host companion, Dale Decker.
Yeah. And it's like National Power Ranger Day, right? That's where this all started.
I don't know if it's like someone said it's Power Ranger Day, but it is the anniversary of the first episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So.
Might as well be a international holiday of the two countries bringing together.
Why not?
Okay, well, I have a feeling that's going to be a big conversation for us today.
It definitely is, considering it was our opening.
Right. So let's do the quick introductions real quick. How has your week been?
It's been pretty good. I saw a movie called The Little Mermaid.
Yes. So I heard a little bit about this from
Devin.
senior Say Report this morning. So I have actually never heard of this. I had missed this entirely.
Yeah, neither had we. It was literally like we had time to kill. We were just doing stuff around, going for a drive, and we decided. Oh, I had to get license plates for my car. That's how it was.
Yeah.
And so we had like an adventure. Devin and I, and then I get a call while we're, adventuring, that my license plates are ready. So I'm like, we should go get those, right? And he was like, yeah. And then we're driving.
I hate it when responsibility gets in the middle of your adventure.
we're driving towards where I have to pick them up, and there's a movie theater near there. And so he's looking at movie time. So I'm like, we might as well do something. And he was like, yeah, we might as well try and see a movie. So he looks it up and he's like, yeah, we're going to see The Little Mermaid at 7:20 or 6:20. And I'm like, okay. Is it literally The Little Mermaid? Is it Disney's The Little Mermaid? He's like, no, I don't know what it is, but we're going to see it.
Did I say Disney's?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
So I was like very excited. I love mermaids. I love that kind of fantasy, that story. Not the Little Mermaid story, but the story of mermaids in general. So I was like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. And Devin also likes mermaids. He's very much into H2O and Mako mermaids. So we're big mermaid fans in this family. So we go. I had no idea what to expect. It starts with this beautiful it looks hand-drawn animation, almost like paper animation, so like cardboard animation, kind of that way, with like crayon. It's gorgeous. It's very, very well done. So I'm like, is this gonna be how the movie is? Because I would be okay with that because of how like just visually stunning it was. And then no, it just cuts to like a live action lighthouse, and I was like, oh my god, this is completely different. And it was just so. It's not a particularly well-made movie. Like the special effects, like the budget, it's a low-budget movie.
Right, I was gonna say, it sounds like fairly independent.
Yes,
more than anything.
Yeah. I should say it's a low-budget movie, not, and I shouldn't say that it's not a well-made movie, because it's, like I said, definitely low budget. All the budget went into the special effects of the actual magic that happened in the movie. And they were amazing. They were so good. Like transformation of spoilers for the Little Mermaid that no one's ever heard of. But like the transformation of her tail was gorgeous. The magic, there's like magic battles that happen, and the pure like just entity of magic looked brilliant. It looked so good, and it's just like it's paired with like very clear green screen
Yeah.
technology. So it's like, you know what? I don't even fucking care. Like, I don't care
I hear
because
something like that, and I venture to guess that the person who either wrote or directed or produced, whoever was like the big driving artistic force behind this movie, like really wanted to make it, was probably like an art student of some
yeah, or
kind. Like
something.
this is like they were like did the hand drawn animation well, and I can use this computer program to do this animation really well, and I
Hmm.
love that. And then the rest of it was, I don't know how to make a movie, so we
Yeah,
put it all together the rest of the way, which I love. I love when you can see like the heart of the person who really wanted this thing to be made, like right there on the screen.
yeah.
Sounds like it was a magical
It
experience.
really was, and it was such a good story too. Like cheesy, but that good kind of cheesy that makes you feel happy. It just like fills your heart with like so much joy. Um, it's just it was just so beautiful. Like yeah, everyone should go see it if you can. It's a
Or
twist on the
hopefully or
yeah.
hopefully hunt it down whenever it makes whatever streaming service inevitably probably picks it up, because that's what happens to most
Yeah,
indies
exactly.
these
It's
days.
probably going to
Yeah,
be on Netflix within like a month. I wouldn't be surprised. So, but like that was my week. We had a nice jaunt to an arcade. Round 1. That's always fun. You get like an hour of free play. You can play. They have like a selected amount of games, and yeah, it was pretty great.
nice, nice.
Yep. How was your week, Ben? Since
My
we
week's
last
been
talked on Friday,
oh
is that when did we last? No, it was Wednesday. Was it?
yeah, I think it was regular last week. I don't know, it all blends
I
together.
don't
The start of
remember.
the semesters. Oh God,
This is
it's just over.
awful.
Yeah, the bulk of the craziness at work is over, so it's all gonna stop blending together finally.
That's
But
good. That's good.
um, but what I did with my time, so I did probably three big things that I want to talk about. But first, quick Nuzlocke update.
Yay!
Not quite yay. um,
Oh,
had to
oh.
take a little bit of a break because I was getting aggravated with myself. I was making such bad decisions. I think because I was so tired from the week, I was just making bad decisions. I lost like three Pokemon, two in like a grinding video, which never happens.
Oh
Like,
God.
oh, it was bad. It was a massacre. So like, because and here's the thing. Here's something I've noticed while I'm playing this game, and that is that there is no indication, especially in the early generation versions of Pokemon, there is no indication of what level you need to be at for things. So like, especially if it's like the wild Pokemon are like at 15 and the trainers are at 16 and 17, and oh, if you go into a gym, they're at 25. So what do I level for? What do I prepare for? Because I kept getting into the situation where I felt way over leveled for like the trainers I was running into because I was preparing for the gym leaders. Like, okay, so I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that. I'll prepare for the trainers. And then it just like it got into this whole crazy mess of I don't know what to plan for. And then after the fourth badge in that game in Fire Red, like there's not a lot of like routes with wild Pokemon anymore. It's you get the fourth thing, and that's when it gets into the whole Team Rocket stuff,
Yeah.
which means that like you go and do the casino, which I apparently did backwards. I did the gym in Celadon City, and then when I went to do the casino, I was like 5 levels over everybody in there. So I apparently did that backwards. Then I did.
But here's the thing. I'm okay with being over leveled. I really am. Like I feel like people harp on that too much because it's like I guess it's making the game too easy. But
It's
at
mostly
the
like it's
same
that
time,
entertainment value again I'm concerned about. Right. It's that entertainment value again that
yeah.
I'm concerned about, where it's like nothing like I could just breeze through this thing if I just like shot everybody up to level 40 and ran through the next 5 sections,
I
but that would
mean,
be boring.
yeah. I think if you're gonna do something like that, I think it would have to be like this is something I want to do now. Is like you level every single Pokemon up to level 100, and then blow through the game and see how fast you can get through it.
But remember, the game doesn't let you do that because after a
I
certain
know.
point, they stop listening to you.
It's very
But
true.
at the same time, like you get the fourth gym badge, and it's everyone up to level 50 will listen to you. Well, everything's at level 30 right now, so I could over level by like 15 levels
Yeah.
and comfortably kick everybody's butt.
True.
So like
True.
I was trying to balance that out, and I'm hitting like trainers that are all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden, like the trainers are just like wildly overbalanced for me. And then it's like, well, I don't know what to do now because there's nowhere to go grind. There's like one patch of grass on 3 different routes I'm looking at to go grind. So I could just sit there and cycle around for 3 hours. And then those Pokemon are killing my Pokemon. So I was like, I'm done. I'm done for now. I'm done. Give me a few days.
Oh man.
So to get away from Pokemon, there were 2 other games I ended up picking up this weekend. The first was the new God of War. Was on sale.
Oh,
Is on
okay.
sale for, well, it's on sale on the PS Plus store for anybody that has that for like $35
Oh,
right now. So I was like,
that's not
well,
bad
I'm
at
gonna
all.
pick that up because I've been reading about it all year, and it's it's a huge game. It's beautiful. I love it. I'm playing through it. It's interesting. I am noticing this weird thing, and I don't know if it's just me, but like the more realistic games are trying to look, which even though the game looks gorgeous, also I'm like not feeling any sort of like artistic care for that world, if that
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense.
All
Like
right.
it just looks like because so if anybody doesn't know the God of War series or has not played it in a while, the original series was all Greek mythology. That's where this whole story comes from. But the new one actually takes place within Norse mythology, even though it's still Kratos, and they allude to the fact that he's in like a new realm, basically,
Oh, really?
like hiding from his past is essentially what he's been doing. And so he basically was like, "Well, I'm done with the Greeks. I'm jumping over to Thor and all of them, so I can hide out over here with my new family." So it looks a lot like Skyrim, is the thing. It
Oh,
looks like
okay.
hype. It looks like really beautiful high res Skyrim.
Wow.
And so it just like so it looks gorgeous, and like the acting is amazing, and the story is great and really well written. I just look at it and I don't feel anything particularly strong about like the artistic vision of that world,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
not.
a
It's
weird
not like.
feeling I was not expecting.
It's not like looking at Horizon Zero Dawn or something like, or like Breath of the Wild or something like that.
Right.
Like,
And it's strange because like Horizon also like at least the human beings were hyper realistic. There's just so much more going on in that game that like with the robots and everything that you have something else to latch onto. And I think that's just a thing I feel in general about like I could care less about how graphically sound and beautiful a game is if it like I would rather something look like the other game I played, which was Donut County. I picked that released literally that was literally like at midnight. So like I picked it up this morning and played
nice.
like a couple of hours.
Nice.
And that is a game that is very simplistic looking because it's made for like iOS and Android tablets as well as PlayStation.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
oh my God, is that game so funny and just so like it was like so calming to just do nothing but like drop stuff in a hole for a
That's
while.
awesome. That's
Because that's
amazing.
all you do in that game is you go from location to location, dropping stuff in the hole till it gets big enough to eat up everything. So the way that the story is actually like portrayed in this is that in between those scenes, you're just seeing all of the people in the hole that you've dropped down there
Oh God.
talking. And they're just like talking about the fact like and the character that's controlling the holes is also down there with them. And so they're just all sitting around a campfire yelling at this one character, and he's like, "What? I thought I was helping people. I was delivering donuts." It's like a giant hole is not a donut. What are you talking about? And there's just like great little conversations in between of just these little forest animals yelling at each other while you just wreck their whole house, their whole situation.
Jeez. All right. Now I have to play it because that sounds
It's so
insane.
yeah, it's like just like it was just this like breath of fresh air of just like pure comedy silliness, which was like really nice to get into.
Oh
So
man.
that was my video games. And then lastly, I watched Sleepaway Camp for the first time after hearing about it for many years. It's a 1983 slasher film with
Oh.
a ridiculously crazy ending. But oh my God, is it one of the trashiest movies I think I've ever watched? And for me, that is saying something.
Oh my
Oh
God.
God. Oh, the characters are despicable. They're so badly acted. The weirdest thing about it is that like it is actual kids in this movie. Like it is like 14 to 17-year-old kids that are like in this sleepaway camp. So like there's the adults running the camp, but for the most part, you're talking about kids dying, which is like
Wow.
really way over the top for like 1980s slasher. But I felt so bad. The ending shot to this film is fairly infamous. I'm not going to spoil it for people, but it's it's the big slasher twist. We're going to throw one big giant twist at the end to cap off right before the credits, and it starts with, I mean, it's also like one of the final deaths in the thing. So like a head rolls across screen, and then they do the final shot. And as soon as the final shot went up on screen, I started laughing so hard. I felt terrible because
Oh no.
I couldn't like not stop laughing at how weirdly put together this movie was, and then to end on a shot that somehow capped all of that weirdness of just like I was like, I can't. It involves the fact that they needed a body double to wear a mold of a certain character's head so that they could do a reveal for something. And so like the face that they put on the mold, like think you ever see Terminator, the original
Yeah.
Terminator, the scene
Yeah.
where he's like looking in the mirror with the very obvious
Oh,
puppet
yeah,
head?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All
So
right.
like that level of
Oh god.
someone wearing what is essentially a face mask of another character is just like the last shot of this movie. And oh my God, the face that they put on this molded mannequin head to cap off this movie is so ridiculous. It's so bad. I was like, I realized that they're revealing something shocking and a character literally just got killed, and I can't stop cracking up.
Wow.
Oh man. So if
Wow.
anyone, I watched it on Shudder, which is like the horror Netflix, the horror version of Netflix. I think it's also probably on Amazon Prime. It's all over the place. If anybody ever wants to see it, Sleepaway Camp. It's fairly infamous. Like other people probably are laughing at the fact that I won't talk about what it is because like a lot of people in the horror community know exactly what the ending to that movie is, but I don't want to spoil it for people who have no idea. It's bad. Just be prepared to like go into that movie and hate so many people. You hate so many characters. And it's like it was probably the start of that. Like the original Friday the 13th came out a couple of years before that, and this feels like a very cheap knockoff. Like someone went, "Oh, Friday the 13th made a bunch of money. Let's get a bunch of, crappy actors together and do it ourselves." They completely went bonkers with it. But the original Friday the 13th, you don't hate any of those characters. As before they decided that they were going to create characters to kill specifically so the audience cheers. It's a thing that came later. I don't think there's like maybe two characters in Sleepaway Camp that I felt bad died.
Oh
Everyone else was a
god.
jerk. Everyone else
Jeez.
was the worst person. Uh, so that's my recommendation for this week is Sleepaway
Well
Camp.
then. And
But
what a perfect segue.
from 1983 slashers to 1990s
19,
teen ninjas.
1993. So like
So a 10-year jump.
10
There we
year
go.
jump. Jeez. That fit perfectly somehow. What?
We made it work. We made it
We
work.
made it work. That's what
Hey,
we do here. That's what we
speaking
do
of
here.
taking, okay, let me think. Wait, I can do this. I can do this. So, Sleepaway Camp, they take a mold of a person's head and put it on someone else so that they can do a
Oh
shocking
god.
reveal.
Oh
In
god.
Power Rangers, the original series, the American version was a Japanese show that they ported over and then just filmed random scenes with Americans and slotted that
Yep.
in, much like a molded face onto another body.
Yep.
There you go. That's your segue.
There we
That's all I
go.
got.
That's a good segue too. I mean, it works both ways somehow. I don't. Well, all right. Well, it's Power Rangers Day, everyone. I guess I don't. If you didn't get it from our opening, it's Power Rangers Day.
In case you forgot.
In case
with-
you forgot our
Uh,
insaneness. But yeah, I'm very happy and I'm excited to talk about Power Rangers. And here's why. Because I freaking love the Power Rangers. Like, I know I throw that phrase around a lot. Like, I love Digimon and I love Pokemon and all that. But, like, seriously. I love Power Rangers. um,
It's interesting
I
because I think I only ever regularly watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the original.
mm,
And I remember the movie coming out and that being like a huge thing for me. Like I gotta go see the Power Rangers movie. And then maybe whatever series came next, whatever next, I don't know if that was Turbo.
oh,
No, that may have been
excuse
later.
me. Hold on. I have it.
Okay.
I have the list. So it was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then Mighty Morphin Oh wait, Alien Rangers, and then
Really?
Zeo, and then Turbo, and then In Space.
I think
I
I
could
somehow
go on.
I just remember like really, really always watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then like as soon as new series started, I fell off. Like I don't know, maybe the
You're
new
just
series
done.
started at a point where I was like too old for it all of a sudden, and so I just didn't have that connection to it anymore. But
Yes.
like I do love I love Power Rangers. I've never had a problem with the different series coming out. It's so weird how connected I am to just the one original series,
Yeah.
and it's never been like it's never left my mind. It's also never been like a thing I have to like jump on. But
Mm.
it's just a strange nostalgia thing for me because like I would also say I love Power Rangers. I've also only watched one of the 10 series of it. Like,
There's 23.
oh God, of course there is.
That's a good
I thought I
segue
was
into.
aiming high. I almost said 8 and I went, nope, I gotta bump that number up a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's 23. Like I said, I did some research before starting the show today because I wanted to have it right. But yeah, there's 23. Just gonna say that again. So,
Man, God.
it would be cool if there were 25 because
One every year.
like one every year. It'd be great. But no, it's so that's actually funny that you say 10 because you being like so connected to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Power Rangers was like always Power Rangers was 1 year older than me, right? So it's
Well,
always
now I
hey
feel
hey you
old.
know what? It's okay. It's fine. You're not old. It's fine. Age is but a number. Anyway, so like you saying that you were so like connected to Mighty Morphin, for me it was always Dino Thunder.
Okay.
Um, and I never knew why. I loved their lair, like that they were underground. I love that Tommy was back.
I
And like
remember that. I remember
yeah,
when Dino Thunder came out and they made like such a big deal
mhm,
that the original Red Ranger was back and
no,
everything.
well, Tommy was the Green Ranger.
Green Ranger. Oh my God. Jason. Jason was the
Jason
red.
was the Red
Jesus.
Ranger. It's fine, Zach. It's fine.
It just makes me feel like old and like brain addled to be mixing up
It's
my Rangers now.
it's okay. I Jason might show up. I don't remember
I don't know.
perfectly, but yeah. So like that was the Power Rangers that I like mainly gravitated to. Like I had their morphing toys. There was only 3 of them, so like it was like a not that not that all Power Rangers aren't a tight knit group, but like having just 3 Rangers was so cool to me because I had prior knowledge of the like the 5 the original, and then like mainly every other one had like 5 Rangers, 6 Rangers, like it was like a
And almost always,
group.
yeah, because it's always like torso, head, and 4
Yeah,
limbs.
exactly.
Like if you're gonna, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so having that change in number was really cool to me. And yeah, it's like it's funny though because I say I love Power Rangers so much. I've never actually seen an entire season before. It's just because like Devin would share stories with me about the Power Rangers. He would tell me about episodes, and then I watched Dino Thunder, and I like knew about them, and I knew that Tommy was a big deal and all of that. And it was just like it was always a part. It was like Digimon. I'm gonna make the comparison. It was always in my life, but I never knew like everything about it, but I knew enough to know that I love the series and the story and everything and the world that it lives in. But yeah, I've never to this day I've never seen an entire season. of a Power Rangers.
And what's interesting is I think that that speaks to just what it's weird because I think Power Rangers exists on a very weird level
Mm,
of it is always there and there's
yes.
always just enough people that will kind of move in and out of it that it doesn't like there's a reason there's 23 like shows over 25 years. It is because they are constantly going, well, we need to try something else to get people more interested in
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
It's never like there isn't it's not like, oh, we've lost interest entirely, cancel the whole thing. It's always, I bet if we did this, I bet if we changed it just a little bit, we could get just a little more.
Yeah. I mean,
And like that is this weird concept of like I can't think of another series or even like group of series or brand that would be like, oh, we're just gonna keep rebranding until we get this right. Instead of just
Pokemon.
giving up. Instead of giving up. Oh yeah,
Like
yes,
it's
yes,
I
but
was gonna say
Pokemon has the games to go with it, and
exactly.
so
Yeah,
they're
true.
constantly retooling because they're retooling along with the games coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So it like works for them to read, but like Power Rangers, like I'm sure that there's Power Rangers games in that giant SNES ROM block I own, but other than that, I can't think of like there aren't video games coming out. Like the movie just came out recently. They didn't do a tie-in video
A
game
year
for that
ago,
because they
yeah.
don't do that anymore.
Hmm.
Right?
Well, there is a
Like,
mobile game. There is a very big mobile game, and there's actually a board game coming out,
well,
which
there you go.
everyone is apparently talking
Well,
about.
and that actually
So
goes. Is it coming from Hasbro? Because that's another thing we should talk
it's
about
a
at some point.
Renegade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Hasbro apparently just bought them out from like Saban
Yes.
finally,
Yes,
like
they have. Yeah.
entirely.
Yep.
So I would
Yeah.
have been so if you had said that Hasbro was putting out a board game too, I'd be like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. No. But yeah. So there are games coming out, and in the mobile game, it's pretty much you can like unlock pretty much every single ranger that has ever existed.
Jesus.
I don't know if they're all in the game, but I'm pretty sure like eventually they will all be in the game. Like I played it for it did its job. Like after I saw the movie, which I have stories of, after I saw the new movie, I was like so like excited that I downloaded the game immediately and just like played it for like 2 weeks, and then I fell off of it. But it was like you get to play as like the movie Rangers, the Mighty Morphin Rangers. Like it was cool. It was very cool. So yeah, it did its job. It got you
You actually
hyped.
just so we were talking about Tommy and it like clicked in my head. I had a White Ranger action figure for when the movie came out
Oh,
when
really?
Tommy goes from green to white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had the White Ranger action figure for years. So I think
Nice.
for years like as much as I was like I weirdly remember this from when I was a kid too, where red was my favorite color. It's not anymore. I don't know why I ever changed it or why it's not or whatever. But red was my favorite color, so I immediately latched onto the Red Ranger for years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like then like I switched to green. Like I can very clearly say this right now. I wear a lot of earth tones. I'm very hippie-ish out here in the desert. And so so like green is like a favorite color. And so like Tommy green going into the white. Like I
Yeah.
remember all of that. And I remember that being like that is the thing that says Power Rangers to me is that action figure that I haven't looked at probably in 15, 20 years. But it's probably still floating around my parents'
I'm
house
sure. Yeah.
somewhere.
That's awesome. Yeah. I don't know. I always loved the Blue Rangers because blue was always a favorite color of mine, and green and blue are my favorite colors. So yeah, it's crazy.
Have you ever seen any of the like recent like syndicated episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Twitch might have played them on a
I know
marathon recently, but I don't know if they had
marathon.
but I don't know if I know they did like all of the Power Rangers, and I don't know if the Mighty Morphin ones they had were the originals or the like weird syndicated ones that came out. But have
Oh,
you
I
ever
don't
seen
know.
those? So
Um,
because what they did with the syndicated ones that they started replaying on, I don't know, one of like the Fox Kids like random channels or something, or whoever had the TV rights to it, is they Batman 66'd it up. So there's things like they'll put up words like "bamf" and "bonk" while their people are being punched, and
really?
the two punks that were like the pseudo bullies in
Mm.
I don't even remember their names. I could guarantee
It's
one of them is Spike.
it's Buck? No. Wow.
Oh God, I don't
Why can't
remember.
I think of it? Oh! It's like Buck or something. I think it's
But the
Buck and Spike or something. I could
so,
be
yeah,
wrong.
but the two bullies would constantly like when they would have their kind of over the top slapsticky reactions, they're putting like weird borders on the screen and putting like boing sounds into it. So
Really?
they like really comic booked up the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in this like weird later syndication
Oh
they
my
did.
god.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
think I've ever
strange.
seen that.
I was in like a hotel room one night, like flipping through channels, and that was on. And like, so I stopped for a few minutes. I was like, I want to watch Power Rangers. Sure, why not? And just like I couldn't process what was going on because it was like watching an episode of like Adam West Batman. Like that was what it felt like watching it.
That's hilarious.
Uh,
That's the other thing about Power Rangers. If it's on, like you can watch it. It's such an easy story that like you can watch any episode in a series and pretty much know what's going on.
yeah, the kids in the
Um
motorcycle helmets are the good guys. The guy in the rubber suit is the bad guy. Now watch them
exactly.
beat each other up.
Exactly. Like it's like I've definitely seen episodes of like Samurai and Super Samurai and RPM. Like I've seen those episodes. Jungle Fury, I remember I used to watch like an episode before school. Like it's
It is
it's
so weird that you're throwing these names out, and I go,
um
yes, I know them, and have no idea what the shows are about. Like I go, oh yeah, Jungle Fury. No, I don't
yeah.
remember that year.
I will. I'm also. I know those ones off the top of my head, but I do have a list of all 23 series in front of me. Like just full disclosure to everyone who is
Ugh.
listening and to you, Zach. um, but yeah, no, it's such a fun show. Like it's very cheesy and campy and everything like that, but it's just it has those heartfelt moments. And yes, I feel like the newer ones that are coming out are a little like Ninja Steel. Even though Ninja Steel is freaking amazing, there are moments where it's just like this is so cheesy. Like and I feel like other ones aren't as cheesy. So
There's
it's
like
like a
there's
toss up.
cheese that you like. I think that there's cheese that you accept with age, right? And so
Oh
like the
yeah,
stuff from like
definitely.
10 plus years back, you just watch it and go, yeah, no, that's just what TV was back then.
Yeah.
And then like everything recent is very clearly trying to keep that up, and it's just like now you're just trying too
Yeah.
hard. That stuff was cheesy because that was how they wrote stuff back then.
Yep.
You guys
Like
are just cheese for cheese sake.
I feel like so another one of my favorite series seasons whatever that I like love and have watched a lot of episodes Mystic Force which is the magic one.
Again, yes, recognize the name.
um freaking I love Mystic Force and yet still have never finished the series. Anyways, but that one was the first one cuz like you compare that to Dino Thunder. Dino Thunder is that like we're going to be serious. Like this is a serious situation.
Well, I mean, you got
It's
Tommy
going to
back.
be
What else are you gonna
yes, you have
do?
Tommy back. And then like I watched the first episode of Mystic Force and like they all work in a record shop
Oh
and
God, yes,
which is great,
those
which
hot
is
those
great.
hot teen hotbeds, the
Yeah,
record
yeah.
shop.
It's like a record, like a CD. It's really
Although
not a
to be
record
fair,
store, but
Mighty
it's like a
Morphin took
CD.
place in a dojo.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So, but there's like it opens. From what I remember, it opens like there. I don't know. It's like crazy flip flown. Oh my god,
flip
flip
flow.
phone, flip flown. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna. It's just so outdated. I can't even say it anymore.
Oh, it
God.
doesn't make any sense
Anyway,
to me in my millennial sensibilities.
it is flip phone footage. There we go.
Oh man, that's it. We
So,
found the millennial tongue twister, everybody. We finally found our
genius.
generation C cell she cell.
Wow, that was really tough. Anyways, and like, you know what the kicker is? I just said that. It's not flip phone footage. It's like a stupid camcorder. It's like a cheap camcorder. That looks
Were you
like
trying to say found footage that
I
whole time
don't
and you just did
know.
not?
I don't know what just happened. Um, but it's like cheesy, like really bad camcorder footage of her like of she's the Blue Ranger. She's walking around the store and she's like recording everybody, and it's like your introduction to everyone in the show.
Oh
and,
God.
it's like they're all friends who work at the record shop together, and
And you can
she
tell
like
because
she
you can
goes
tell because someone stuck a camera in their face and they didn't
exactly.
immediately go, "Get the hell out of here."
Exactly. And like so she like goes to Xander, and Xander's like being a cool guy, like
There's a
I think
Xander.
there's a Xander, and I think he's from New Zealand. I think the actor is from New Zealand. So he also has an accent, which is pretty cool. But so it's like Xander being all cool and like awesome. He's the Green Ranger. And then you move over to her sister. I think this is the order. If this is the order, this is insane. Because I haven't seen the first episode of Mystic Force in like forever.
The stuff that'll stick in your head, man. I don't know. Like,
It's
I understand
crazy.
entirely.
So like she makes a joke at Xander for like, I don't know, missing out or like failing with a girl or whatever, right? Then she like goes over to her sister, and you know it's her sister because the girl, she's the Pink Ranger or the Purple Ranger, and she's like DJing, she's like scratching, and
In the record store.
yeah, in the record store. She has like big
This
headphones.
is how to destroy our product.
she has like the headphones on her neck, and it looks just so uncomfortable. And she's like, "Hey, nice job, sis." She
Oh,
just,
of
like,
course, because you've
makes
got to
a
say
face.
sis, or otherwise no one will
It's
ever
like-
know.
And then it goes over. I don't remember her name. Her name might be Viv or something. I don't remember. And then it goes over to the Yellow Ranger, who is just the nerd of the group, and like he loves magic and like wizards, and he's wearing like a robe around him and like doing spells in the record in the CD record shop. And she's like, I think his name might be Cole. I don't remember. But she's like, "What are you doing?" And he like does a spell or something, and then like everything in the store fall. Like an earthquake starts happening. And they all like run for cover and everything falls in the store. It's just like, this is weird. This is a weird. Oh, and I forgot the introduction to the Red Ranger is he's like this bad boy cool dude riding a motorcycle into the town.
Red Ranger's never allowed to be a nerd, everybody. Just
Exactly.
not allowed.
So he's just like blazing through town, and his bike breaks down. And he's like the outsider of the group who needs to bring them all together, even though they're already all together and like the best of friends.
Oh my
It's
God.
like the most ridiculous thing. But
This group of friends would be
it's
great,
so
but you know what would make it better? A leader.
Yes,
Me.
yeah, exactly. And like the way that they get to the mystical forest is through a tree. It's ridiculous. Watch Mystic Force is what I'm
That's
telling you.
literally how Elfo gets home in Disenchanted. He's an elf. They're just elves in Mystic Force.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Conspiracy unlocked. That is something that I came up with a while ago, like 2 or 3 years ago. Conspiracy unlocked.
Every
Just
time,
gonna plug
every time
that.
you connect two random things.
Every time you connect two like
Oh, that's okay.
ridiculous things that actually don't make sense, it's like, oh yeah, that's conspiracy unlocked.
Oh, perfect. Because when we start to talk about the latest movie, I got a connection for you that you're not going to believe.
Oh god.
So,
Oh no. I'm excited, but I'm scared. But yeah, I just freaking love it. And Ninja Steel, oh my god, it's coming back, and it's gonna be ridiculous, and I'm so excited.
So it coming back. So that actually that
Don't
brings up a question.
hey, don't spoil anything if you've seen
Oh
anything.
yes, yes, I've watched Ninja Steel. No, of
No,
course, I
okay,
just got
but
saying
there
I
are
haven't watched any.
promos. There are promos out there that I've seen that I can't tell Devin about because
don't
I don't
even
want
watch-
to ruin it for him.
Only TV I see and the only TV ads I see are during Jeopardy. Literally, because I'm old.
Oh yeah,
And
and
so-
Jeopardy is really getting their
That
money's
Power
worth out of
Ranger
the punny
demographic.
punny rangers. What the fuck?
How's that flip flum coming with the Punny Rangers?
I'm just so excited to be talking about Power
Oh.
Rangers that I can't talk.
No, so you've got the list in front of me. Does your list include like air date years by any
No.
chance?
Oh no.
Dang.
I
Because
didn't
what
go
I want to
that
know
in
is like
depth. I'm
so
sorry.
25 so 25 years of Power Rangers and 23 series. What that says to me is that like the first one went for a couple of years, and then every year they rebrand the Power Rangers trying to get it
Well,
back.
okay, so
So Steel coming back, like I don't know if there was ever a like overlap of the Power Rangers series. So I don't know if it's like, oh, they all ran for like 3 or 4 years. They just overlapped every couple of years,
so
or if it's just that it was like one and done seasons of these shows.
hold on one second. So it does have 25 things listed because it lists because what I basically did was I was looking up the theme song to like try and get our opening. um so I was trying to look up the theme song and like what Zordon says and everything because I know what he says, but I wanted it like fully. And then
Don't worry, because I didn't
but
know what Alpha said at all. So
and then I changed it to we're just gonna do the opening of the first episode. But anyways, so I looked up theme songs, and like it's like a hyperlink. You go to what the theme song is. So it does have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 2, and then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 3.
oh
Because
god,
each one, I guess, has a different theme song.
I bet you that's like
So
because they had to stretch it or shrink it with like character length. So like season 3 probably had to be a little bit longer to accommodate the fact that Tommy was White Ranger now, and they needed to get a new Green Ranger
yeah.
to add it in.
Exactly. So technically there are 25 things listed on my list. But
I'm just curious. Like I just have this like curious idea of like, are there years where there are two sets of Power Rangers on screen at the same time, or is it just like every year they're like, well, Ninja Steel didn't work, time to move on to Mystic Force. Well, get in the jungle now, because now we're gonna do this.
Get in the jungle, Jungle Fury.
You've been exiled.
So I think so. It's weird. So the last like let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish. I'm gonna count Ninja Steel. The last 7 series, it's been Samurai, Super Samurai, Megaforce, Super Megaforce, Dino Charge, Dino Supercharge, Ninja Steel, and then I think the newest one is like Super Ninja
Super
Steel.
Mega Force Ninja Steel.
No, it's like it's Super Ninja Steel or Super Ninja or Ninja Super Steel or something like that.
So they've gotten in a weird habit of just naming their second seasons Super.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So, but it's weird because they're advertised separately, kind of. So it's like a new series, but it's the same series. It's just
Are
like
they...
a continuation. So even technically, you could argue that there aren't 23 series.
This is going to sound really weird. This is exactly what Twin Peaks did. So Power Rangers and Twin Peaks are the same. That's what I'm putting out there right now.
Hashtag
But
conspiracy
like,
online.
if you look at Twin Peaks from last year, it was titled Twin Peaks: The Return, and it is like a 50-50 shot. Whoever you're talking to is going to call it Twin Peaks Season 3 or Twin Peaks: The Return Season 1. Like, so again,
and it's only been
Agent
in
Dale
recent
Cooper.
years.
Yes, Agent Dale Cooper deserves to be in Power Rangers, was what I'm saying. Because Kyle MacLachlan in a Power Rangers TV show would actually break my brain.
Now I want nothing more.
Just that big wide smile. And a bunch of robots throwing down behind him.
Nice. But yeah, so it is weird. Like it started with Samurai. I think I'm trying to look at like other ones, cause it goes like Zeo, then Turbo, then In Space, then Lost Galaxy. So like they're all space themed, kind of, and then Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, Wild Force,
God.
Ninja Storm, which
Is like does every series start with the
Dino
new Power
Thunder.
Rangers team has to save the other Power Rangers team from like some black hole in the galaxy? Jesus.
I don't know. Like that's weird that they're all in space, but they're different.
This is how you
people.
pass on being a Power Ranger: is that you go into space and you find another Power Ranger team, and they go, "It's your freaking burden now."
Just tag
you
them
take
in.
it.
Tag
Yep,
them.
basically.
It's it. It's your turn. We're done.
I mean, okay, so we need to
We've had
transition to
enough.
the latest movie. That is literally how the latest movie kind of did it. They just went, okay, no, it's your turn. Here you go. Please take this.
Yeah, which I
The
kind
Rock's
of
the
like.
Rock's tagged you in. Here you go.
I actually really like that. Talk about something that worked really well for me. I need to give you a little disclaimer on the newest Power Rangers movie.
All right.
When Devin and I saw it, we watched it, freaking loved it. We're walking through the lobby of the movie theater, and I'm like, that movie was fantastic. I loved every second of it. There was a smile on my face the entire time. I would watch it again right now. And Devin's like, so would I. Like, I would watch it. I would sit down again and just watch it again right now. And then we proceeded to get in line, buy tickets again, and then go back, pretty sure to the same theater,
Probably.
and watch
Well, yeah, because
Power
your showing
Rangers.
just ended, so that's the one that
Yes.
was open. Yeah,
Yep.
of course.
So I literally saw Power Rangers from 2017
So
twice in a row.
So here's how I ended up seeing it.
Oh, and
Because
then-
I was on the fence about it until Say Report did an entire episode on it
yes,
and
yes, they
utterly
did.
convinced me that I had to go see this movie.
Mhm.
I was not planning on going out of my way to see that movie until the two of them, Sejan and Devin,
Yeah.
gushed so much over that movie that I went, well, there's no way I don't see this movie now.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's so. And then 2 days later, I saw it a third time with a friend of mine. So like, and then the day it was released, I was like, I'm going to buy it. I don't care. I had it in my calendar. Like, it was the most excited I had ever been for a DVD release, like in a long time.
yeah.
So I just loved it so much. It works so well.
And it's amazing because it's the first like slightly it's weird. So they're all teenage. I mean, they're all 16 and 17 in that movie, and I would say that was geared. There was a movie geared toward like 13-year-olds exactly,
Probably.
where
yeah.
it was like it's not quite young enough to be like it's not so cheesy and quite young enough that like it would be for the 10-year-olds that were probably watching, like the primary audience for watching Power Rangers at the time. But at the same time, it's not nearly as like it's not so old that it's like we're only aiming for the 30-year-olds that watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers when they were young. Like they nailed that balance in between.
Oh yeah.
We're like, we make this for 13-year-olds and the 30-year-olds are going to love it
Yep.
for the nostalgia stuff. And anyone younger than that's going to love it because they're seeing the stuff that they watch on TV now. And the kids right in the middle are going to get everything going on in that movie. All of the puberty analogs going on
Oh,
and
yeah.
the family stuff
And
the like need to like the need to like feel like you're doing something important. Like all of that was like so well done. Something that we haven't really seen since like the 80s when like kids movies and kids adventure movies and stuff like that were so well done. I remember watching Power Rangers after I already knew everything that was going to happen because they spoiled everything in the Say Report, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm still going to go see this. And I still was like, they did everything so beautifully well, just executed well that I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop smiling the
Yeah.
whole movie.
Yeah.
Like I loved every second of it. I couldn't believe that they did that so well without like going way too far in either direction.
Yeah, no, totally. And it's also like it's Power Rangers as a whole is so malleable. Like you can do anything with it and it'll most of the time work. It'll work, right? So they did it even better with like changing it to fit what's going on like in the world and to like make it more. To me, I feel like Power Rangers has been a very inclusive show, and like a diverse show, like together wholly throughout all of the series, and it's just like they even nailed it in this, like tackling the autism spectrum, tackling LGBTQ, like it was great, tackling like kids who might be not in the greatest situation at home and don't want to go home every day because it's just like heartbreaking for them. Like it just tackled all this stuff that it was time to tackle, you know?
Right. And like
it was
the like
it was the time for Power Rangers to hit upon all of that.
absolutely, because I think especially like in tackling that with Billy and the autism spectrum, right? That was Billy's
Yes,
still
yes.
his name
Billy
in the
was yeah.
Ranger.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, their
God.
names are
Oh,
all
thank
the
God, I
same.
remembered something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like tackling Billy with the autism spectrum
Mhm.
stuff, that is something that like as we were talking about Sheldon Cooper all last week, and that is like a big contentious thing with that character sometimes.
Yeah.
That is something that comes up with people, and like the whole idea of like people very rarely are able to write those write characters on the autism spectrum that still read realistic to the people who are dealing with that and the family members who are dealing with that, as well as get audiences who do not deal with that on a
Mhm.
daily basis to kind of understand those characters without making them caricatures or making them silly.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Billy is perfectly done that, like
Mhm.
almost perfectly done that way. Like I was that was something that really like worried me when I first heard about that. And spending as much time on Twitter as I do, like that was something I was watching out for. And so many people went, this reminds me of my cousin. This is exactly how my cousin is. He has so much heart and so much love, and he just struggles to show it. And I think that is the thing that people tend to miss with people on the spectrum that way, is that it is not that they're often written almost sociopathic, where it's like, oh, I don't know how to deal with people and I
Mhm.
don't know how to feel things. And that's not what's actually happening there. What's happening is that your brain is not, your brain is processing those feelings. It is just not, it doesn't know how to outwardly show it and
Yeah,
how to
exactly.
deal with those.
Mhm.
And Billy is really well done that way, that he very clearly loves all of them. And he very clearly loves Jason. Like they are,
Yeah.
like he immediately gloms onto him as one of his best friends. Like, I'm going to help you get your ankle bracelet off, and then we're gonna go off and do these things. And he understands this idea that sometimes friendship is I do a thing for you and you do a thing for me. So he's like, I get your ankle bracelet off, you take me to the quarry. Like,
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
he understands that. He just doesn't know how to like either control like his outward feelings sometimes, or he doesn't know how to show it.
Mhm.
And I just like it's like all of the heart in that movie is in that character.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Which is why it was perfect that, spoiler alert, he's the one that dies for 5 minutes.
I know.
And like
Oh, and
even knowing
every
that
time.
going in even knowing that going in, I cried and choked
Oh,
up, and I was like, no,
are you kidding
even
me?
for 5 minutes, no.
I have seen that movie probably 5 times, maybe more, but every time it comes to that scene, it's just like uncontrollable tears. And it's like
Oh,
I know he's coming back, but their love for each other, they have such like this friendship and this family. And when Kimberly just starts bawling, it's just like, yeah, like these, like you guys truly care about each other. And then even Trini, who's like kind of been like reserved and she's a badass and everything like that. Like she cries, and Zach crying too. Like they all cry, and it's just, it's nice to see that they have that much compassion for him, because it's true. Like he is the heart, and he is the one who like tries to keep them together. He's the first one to morph. He's the first one to lock into that friendship. And I mean, it goes back to the whole, red and blue have always kind of been leaders in the um Power Ranger like universe. So it shows like he does have a leadership in this. He has somewhat of a leadership in this group. He has the compassion leadership.
right.
Whereas
He is
Jason
that
has
moral compass
exactly. Whereas
to
Jason
yeah.
does have the like physical and the mental like leadership. Billy is truly the one who brings them together.
Also,
Like,
Jason looks like second rate Zac Efron, which I couldn't get over the whole time.
oh my
I
god.
was like, oh my god! Like this whole time, I was like, if this movie came out 10 years ago, Zac Efron would be standing where you're standing
Oh
right
my god. No.
now. And so the thing with
It's so
him, so
true.
the thing with, and so here's the thing with Jason. This is what I was alluding to earlier. I know you have not watched Stranger Things,
Oh,
but that
yeah.
actor shows up in season 2 of Stranger
Yeah,
Things
I know.
as the worst character ever.
Mhm.
He's got this stringy, gross hair, and he's like hitting on like housewives, and he's like super racist.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just like,
I've seen
and
like
like
photos of him from it.
what was
So,
what was crazy was like I didn't recognize him at first. So like I had seen, so because Power Rangers came out a little before Stranger Things season 2 did. I think one came out beginning of the year and the other came out at the end. And so like saw Power Rangers, loved it. It was great. Stranger Things comes out in October and I'm watching this guy and I'm like, what is it? Why what is it about you that I can't quite place? What is going on? And then like one of the last episodes, I go, holy crap, it's the Red Ranger. Why are you hitting on that guy's mom? No.
oh my god. Yeah.
All I
I
could
don't
think is
watch Stranger Things and I'm happy I don't
like
know.
all I could think was like, why who did this to you? What happened? Did they kick you out of the group? Did they kick you out of the Power Rangers and this is what you do now?
Oh god. Oh no. Stop. Stop, Zach.
Or
Why?
is it the other way? Is it that Stranger Things takes place before that, and this is just what Jason was doing before he got sent to live with his new family?
Stop.
Uh,
No. Why?
just think of it. Power Rangers is a
Ugh.
redemption arc for the crazy, terrible person from Stranger Things.
Ugh.
Uh,
Ugh. No. I'm walking past this. I'm not.
okay.
That freaks me out. It's so creepy.
Uh,
I
well,
never
then
knew his character was bad. Also, I always thought he was just
yeah.
like this
Oh,
dude in
he's the
Stranger
big
Things.
worst. No, he's like the older brother of like the new girl that they introduced this season,
Oh,
and
that's
he's just
creepy.
like he like super hates that she's hanging out with like the one black kid in the group, and
Oh,
like he's
God.
like alcoholic and he's definitely abusive to the little sister, and then he definitely shows up with like the James Dean, like denim jacket and just the stringy hair, and he's just like leaning on the doorway talking to the mom, and you're just
God.
like, oh, every bit of this is skeezy all
Oh,
over.
oh yeah, that's
He plays
awful.
skeezy really well. I mean, that's the thing. He went like the fact that I did not recognize him at first is because like I can't equate Jason with that character. Like I can't do both at the same time.
It kind of hurts your brain.
Yeah,
Like
you're just
I
like you're not allowed to be that
yeah.
that nice and then that terrible in the same year. You're not.
You can't do that. You can't do that to people. Oh man. Yeah, no. I mean,
uh,
I think the last thing that I have to say about the movie, the newest movie is like to go back onto the whole like acceptance of it is that like it's those moments where like they truly don't like they're truly like the kids who will accept everybody and will accept everyone the way they are because you have that moment where where they're at the what did you call it, cavern, whatever it is,
the quarry or
the
whatever.
quarry, yeah, so
Yeah.
they're at that place and Billy like says to Jason, I'm on the spectrum, and Jason's just like, yeah, okay, like
Am I supposed
and
to know something about that?
like it doesn't matter. Like you're still my friend, we're still cool, like you being on the spectrum is not suddenly gonna make me hate you, you know.
It's almost like
So
I'm on the spectrum, and Jason should have turned around and been like, "And you're also still annoying. Are you gonna come with me or not? Like
yeah,
I've got stuff to do."
like it's just normal, like it's like a normal thing that they, and it happens with Trini too, like when she I mean, Zach kind of puts it, it's nice that Zach puts it together and he's like, boyfriend troubles, and she's like, yeah, boyfriend troubles, and he's like, girlfriend troubles, and she's like, I don't know how to talk to my family. And it's like that scene gets, I might cry now, that scene also like is a very like tear, like just bawling because of Trini and Zach. Like both of their backgrounds get shown in that moment of like Zach's mom being sick and then Trini like not knowing how to talk to her parents because she's gay. Like she and then even Billy being like, it's okay, like we're still your friends. It's fine. We accept you the way you are. We're still gonna go out and kick ass together. Like we're still a family, and it's not gonna change anything. Like
We're
it's
still
just
gonna fight this giant gold
yes.
monster.
Like it's just it makes me happy that like movies are now everything is normal, as it should be.
And I
Like,
love that, like, of all the things, like, Power Rangers is the one to do that. Like, again,
yes.
something that has existed for so long and yet I think has ridden just under the radar of everybody,
Hmm.
where it's just like everybody's like, oh yeah, I watched Power Rangers at some point.
Yes,
I don't think
exactly.
there's anybody out there who, because they also, like, I mean, with the exception of Jason and Kimberly,
Kimberly,
I
nice
remembered it.
job. I'm so proud of you.
Do you want to know how I remember that? So the original Pink Ranger, I don't remember the actress's name. The only other thing I ever saw her in was Susie Q. Did you ever see that? It's a
No,
Disney Channel original movie.
no, I
Susie
haven't.
Q is a Disney Channel original film in which Susie Q was from the 1950s and died,
Oh,
and was then a ghost haunting a kid in the 90s in, a 90s kid, like, Disney movie.
wow.
And I don't remember the actor who's in that, but like he was in almost every, like, made for TV movie, or like he would show up as like a character in like every different show once in a while. Like, I recognize his face, I don't know his name, but that was how I remember, like, Kimberly is like, oh, she's the Pink Ranger and she's Susie Q and that's it. She's all I remember her from.
That's awesome.
But aside from Jason and Kimberly, they did a bunch of, like, race swapping in the
Mm,
new Power Rangers, and
yes, they
no
did.
one, like, I think there was some initial confusion from some of the people who were fans before, but I don't think there was not like the major fan outrage that you get from
That you
some
would
of, like,
expect.
remakes.
Yeah,
It was like, oh, okay, so, and I think what helps is that they didn't erase any of those races. It was just that they kind of
they
swapped
just
them
moved
around,
them
where it was
around.
like,
Exactly.
okay, instead of the Asian character being the Yellow Ranger, which was a little iffy to begin with, we just made them the Black Ranger now,
Exactly.
and then we made Billy black, and now we have a Latina here for the Yellow Ranger, and
Yes.
there we go. And
Yeah.
now there's not this weirdness of the black guy being the Black Ranger
He's
and
now
the
the Blue Ranger. Yeah,
Asian
it's
character being the Yellow Ranger.
yeah.
Right. It was perfect. Like, it was, like, done very nicely
Yeah.
that way.
And then it's
Um,
even you even have that nice moment with Billy where Zach's like looking down. He's like, "Oh man, I'm black," and Billy's like, "No, you're not." It's like, "Oh, Billy, you're the best."
uh,
But yeah,
and then
it.
also, I just want to shout out Bryan Cranston and Elizabeth Banks showing up in this
Oh
movie
my
as, like, the
God.
only named actors in this movie, and just bringing
Oh, and
110%.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, and Bill Hader as
Bill
Alpha, but
Hader. Yep.
all as a voice,
Yeah.
which you recognize immediately.
Yeah.
But, like, they were like, oh, we got our three named actors who are going to come in, and we know that they're going to, like, people who are willing to do literally anything and just come out and put their all into everything they do because they're freaking professionals. Like, I think Bryan Cranston, Elizabeth Banks, and Bill Hader definitely make that, like,
Oh
make
yeah.
make that mold, because I don't think I've ever seen any one of those three people phone it in.
No.
And so, like, you could start on in that whole opening scene where he's, like,
Oh
crawling around,
God.
and it's, like, heartbreaking
Yeah.
because you're like, oh, this is a kids movie. Let's start out with this freaking war
Yeah.
and this guy crawling through the trenches.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Elizabeth Banks is just insane the whole movie as Rita. It was like, I'm gonna take your gold teeth now.
She like that it really gave me a newfound respect. Not that I hated Elizabeth Banks or anything like that, but seeing her in that kind of character, cuz she's always like she's either like the love interest or like she's just like over the top
Or
like
even
being funny or like
like a side character sex
yes.
object. I remember
Yes.
very clearly when I was in high school, 40-Year-Old Virgin came out.
Oh
And
yeah, I
that
still never
scene,
seen that.
so there is a scene with her topless in that movie.
Mm.
And I remember watching that, and I had a friend sitting next to me who went, that woman's never going to work in Hollywood again. This scene is
Wow,
ridiculous,
nice.
and it's 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and she's topless the whole time. And, like, every time I think back to what was now 10 years ago, which now realizing 40-Year-Old Virgin is a 10-year-old movie makes me feel old. But, like, all I think about is that, like, like, she wasn't, put it this way, my friend was not wrong in that at the time that was what happened. Someone would come in and then they were like come into a comedy role, or they would come into these drama roles, and, like, it was like, oh, we got this beautiful woman, we'll make her topless, we'll tell her she's going to be this huge Hollywood person, and then they disappear. That is the kind of thing that happens. It happened all through the 80s and 90s, and all of a sudden Elizabeth Banks comes in and is like, screw you, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to direct
Exactly.
Pitch
Yep.
Perfect, and I'm going to also then 2 years later to the sadness of all movie viewing audiences, I'm going to be a stripper in Happy Time Murders. And it's like,
Oh God, still
I
haven't seen
know.
that. I don't know how I
I
feel
haven't
about
heard
it.
I haven't heard great things. Um,
Devin
the
insists
sad
I
thing
go see it, and I don't.
the sad the sad thing about that movie is I know that Brian Henson has been trying to make that movie so long that it's just was inevitably going to be outdated by the time it came out.
Yeah,
Because I first heard about that 10 years ago, and by that time, I think Brian Henson
really.
had still been thinking about it for 10 years before it came out.
Wow.
I think he wanted to make that movie right after Farscape, and no one would let him for
Jeez.
years.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
I think it was destined to be an outdated movie. But I just like I just can't believe the career of Elizabeth Banks
I know.
sometimes.
I know.
And
But
I am fascinated by it, and all the power to her. I think she's a great actress, and I
mhm,
think she's a great director.
mm,
And I just can't believe that like she broke that mold in such a way that she could also then be
yeah.
like, I'm gonna go be Rita Repulsa now.
And like
And
just knock it out of the park. I'm
absolutely.
serious. Like I saw her in Love and Mercy, and I was like, okay, Elizabeth Banks. Like I'm starting to get on her team, like more than I was. And then her as Rita Repulsa is just like, okay, and I'm on board with you. Like this is you are very like well versed or whatever. You have acting chops. You have a
Yeah,
big range of acting chops. Like this
yeah,
is amazing.
because
Um,
there's the actor that's willing to do everything
mm,
like Nicolas Cage, and then there's the actor that's willing to do everything and bring it every time. And I think Elizabeth
and
Banks
that's
is like
Elizabeth Banks. Yeah,
brings it every time,
yeah.
and I think Nicolas Cage brings it sometimes. And, uh,
I think that might
sometimes,
be
yeah,
the best
I think
place
that
to
might
end
be it.
this. Is that Nicolas Cage brings it
Brings it some.
most of the time.
I didn't say most.
Oh, you didn't say
Hold on,
most. I'm
I
giving
said
him more
sometimes.
credit. Oh God. Um, he's really good in National Treasure.
He's also really good in Mom and Dad that came out last year from the guy that directed Crank.
Mom
It's
and
actually
Dad. I've
Mom and Dad.
never.
Okay. We're not ending the
Oh
episode yet. I have to
God.
explain Mom and Dad. No, it'll take me 2 seconds. Mom
Nice.
and Dad, from the writer, I think writer and director of both Crank movies, is a movie in which, um, through like radio signals and phone signals, parents decide they need to kill their children.
Oh what?
And so it's like a very like pulpy horror film. And it is Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair are the mom and dad in this. And it's all about it is great pulp because great pulp always does two things. It always is over the top and insane and also has some sort of commentary. Even if it's like very basic commentary, good pulp should have commentary of some kind. And this one is that like your like baby boomer parents really hate the people they've become
Oh God.
because they were like the young hippies who were gonna save the world, and then instead they just let their life devolve into basicness. And so like you get to watch Nicolas Cage do the thing he doesn't do well, which is like kind of straight man dadness. Like he does that sometimes, and sometimes he can do that, and a lot of times he can't. So he's really seems uncomfortable, but it's perfect because he gets to devolve into crazy Nicolas Cage for this movie as he gets driven crazier and crazier.
Oh God. That's great.
Oh,
That's awesome.
it's really weirdly good. Like it is not. I would say it is a perfect B-minus movie. Like it is a perfect B-minus movie
Okay.
of like it's made just okay, and like the writing is just okay, but the acting from Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair sells this movie
I
perfectly.
believe
Uh,
it.
so yeah, Mom and
Well,
Dad. That's
that's how. Yeah. I mean,
I managed to sandwich the Power Rangers film with
that's
Sleepaway Camp and Mom and Dad, and I don't know how I did
that's
that.
impressive. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm thoroughly impressed. But as always, I don't know why I just said as always. I think this is the perfect. I mean, you sandwiched it perfectly. So yeah, you've been listening to Say Report Jr., a podcast that you should be listening to, subscribing. I totally screwed this up.
No, you're almost there.
Oh
You
wait,
had it. One more word.
subscribing and following,
And downloading. But following works too.
and downloading every week. You can find us on YouTube Search Say Report Jr. You can find us on Twitter at Say Report Jr. You can also find each of us individually. I am at Dale's Brain.
And I am at Zerwisky. I almost said Zerwixky, which I have no. That's not it. Zerwisky. SKI. Okay.
You might want to spell it because now they're
Yeah,
just
now
confused.
I confused it. I had a friend today actually see my name written down, and she went, "I've never known how to say your name correctly.
Oh
Could
my
you
God.
say it out loud for me?" So
That's
it's Zerwiski.
Yes.
Zerwisky.
And Dale is with a Y. Dayle.
Yes.
Brain. Oh, S brain.
S. There you go. I was waiting to see if you'd catch that.
Dale's brain. All right,
This clearly we need ice cream. We're done. We need
done.
ice cream.
We're done. It's too hot not to get ice cream. So God. Take it away, Liz.
Thank you for listening to The Say Report with your hosts Dale Decker and Zach Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.